Welcome, my guests. My name is Velvet and I'll be your clown for today. And I heard that it's hot clown summer. And how else are we gonna stay cool this summer if not by making fun drinks ourselves? So here are 5 homemade recipes for fun drinks you can make this summer that don't contribute to giant multinational corporations that profit off of exploiting their workers and the environment and contribute financially to genocide. I'm going to show you 5 different cold drink recipes, starting from easiest to a little bit more complicated. So let's get right into the first one. The first drink I wanted to start with is something that me and boyfriend came up with a while ago when we started picking elderflower. We're going to start with an Earl Grey elderflower milk tea. Now I am a big advocate for foraging. Elderflower is great if you want to start your foraging journey. It's very easy to identify. It's quite abundant if you live in Europe, and I also believe North America. You can find it easily growing in the wild. We found tons of it just in a local park. You can find them in forests. I wouldn't pick them off the side of the road because obviously they get covered in car exhaust fumes and other pollutants. A couple weeks ago we foraged some elderflower and we made our own elderflower syrup. Here's a jar now as an example. It's also incredibly easy and cheap to make. I mean, the elderflower, free if you forage it. And then you just need water, sugar, lemon, and of course, the free elderflower. We let the flowers steep in the jar so that the flavor can intensify even more. And then you filter out the flowers and just store it in the fridge in sterilized containers and boom! Elderflower syrup for the whole summer. Elderflower syrup is also really commonly available in supermarkets, I know for sure in Western Europe and the UK. So I've already went and steeped my iced tea the previous night. Now for the Earl Grey iced tea, you're never gonna believe this, but we're gonna start with Earl Grey. I want the tea to be quite concentrated since this is the base for the drink, so I've got almost around 2 tablespoons here. Tea bags are also fine. Leave this to steep. Say a maximum of 5 to 6 minutes, and then once it's strained, just keep it in the fridge to use for later. It's been sitting in the fridge, so let me pull it out and show you how to make it. We've broken almost every glass in this house, so I'm gonna be using this little plastic cup for now. So as I said, we're starting simple. In your cup, you're gonna take your elderflower syrup. This is some that we've already filtered. What I'm gonna continue reiterating throughout this video is that you're gonna flavor according to your tastes, alright? Nothing is official. You can always add whatever you want. I don't wanna teach you recipes, I wanna teach you ideas and techniques, okay? Me personally, I think I'm gonna go for around 1 to 2 tablespoons of syrup. Then I've got my Earl Grey tea, and I'm gonna fill this up around halfway, because I wanna do a 50-50 split of Earl Grey to milk. Then I've got myself some soy milk. You can choose whatever milk you like. And fill it up the rest of the way. Give it a little stir. Now when it comes to flavoring additives, you can either choose lemon or vanilla, and well, that's it! I told you we were starting easy. I know it looks very unassuming and not very attractive in this glass, but it tastes amazing. If you don't like floral flavors, I'm immediately going to tell you that you're not going to like this. Elderflower, it's in the name, it's going to be quite floral, and Earl Grey in itself is also quite floral with the flavor. It's just really flowery. It feels like you're sitting on a field. If you are of the inclination of adding some boba into this, be my guest. I don't have the time or the patience to be making boba, but when people start gentrifying boba, which I'm sure they already have, this would be on the menu. You can also enjoy this as an iced tea without the milk, just Earl Grey and elderflower. I really do think it's a great combination. The citrus and the floweriness, it's perfect. So, give it a try and let me know what you think. On to the next drink, we've got another iced tea that is in fact not made of tea at all. Now, hibiscus is brewed as a tea in a lot of places, and this is a concoction that I've been making for quite a while, and it's definitely very inspired by West African and Jamaican styles of hibiscus tea. I already made it the night before, so that it could sit in the fridge overnight. Okay, to start for the base of the drink, you're gonna need some more dried hibiscus flower. I've got around 2 tablespoons here. Just pour in your hibiscus flower. Then I've got some fresh ginger, around 1 nubbin. Add that in with your hibiscus. Then I've got some fresh mint, which has seen better days, but hey, it's still mint, it does its job. I'm just throwing in whatever I can salvage. I'm just gonna leave it like this, but if you would like something a little bit more spiced, you could also add some cinnamon or some cloves. Then I would also recommend to sweeten it a little bit. You can use sugar, brown sugar. Today I'm just gonna use honey. And of course, sweeten it to taste. Top it up with boiling water. And let it steep overnight. Here it is now after sitting in the fridge overnight. It's picked up that beautiful red color that hibiscus tea is known for. when the condensation forms on the outside of a cold glass. Ah! Grab yourself a glass of ice, and I've got myself a small filter to strain out the solids, and just pour yourself a glass. And here we go. Added a little bit of lime and some mint just to make it look fancy. You can also add some additional lime juice if you want it a bit more sour, and of course, sweeten this to taste. I love this. I love this drink so much. The ginger, it's very subtle, but you do taste the sourness from it. And the mint, I mean, it's mint. What am I saying? But this, I have to say, is the most refreshing you can get. It's, you know, it's like a fruitier lemonade. So if you like lemonade, but you want to try something a little bit different, I love it so much. Alright, now we're gonna get into some recipes that are a little bit more complicated. They take a little bit more forethought, more foresight, some planning, some cooking. I'm sure this already exists, but it came to me in a vision, and that is a cherry Bakewell lemonade. For those who don't know, a cherry Bakewell is a little tart from the UK with frangipani and almond filling, cherry jam, and icing. I love cherry. I like lemonade. I like almond. I think coming together could make a beautiful lemonade. So let's try it out. Okay, we're over here in my cooking station now. I've got everything in front of me. So for this recipe, you're gonna need some kind of cherry concentrate. I'm gonna be using cherry jam, just from the jar. You could also use fresh cherries, frozen cherries, cherry syrup, cherry juice. So to make the cherry syrup, get your cherry concentrate and add that to a pot. And I would do equal amounts of cherry concentrate, so fresh cherries or cherry jam, to water. Then over here, I've got some almond extract, and use this sparingly because it can lead to very artificial territories very quickly. So taste as you go. Start with, you know, maybe half or a quarter teaspoon and add more according to your taste. Oh, yeah, that is almond. That is like straight amaretto biscuits. Ooh, but I think it's gonna be delicious. I'm just gonna put half a capful for now. Now, at this point, if you want to add more sugar, go for it. Give it a little stir, and wait for this to thicken up and get to a syrupy consistency. In the meantime, let's prepare the lemonade the only way we can, which is by cutting up a bunch of lemons. I don't really know how to advise you how to make lemonade, just, well, squeeze lemons, whichever way you like. I mean, lemonade is really just so to taste. It's just, you know, lemon juice, water, sugar. Ah! God, I wish I had a lemon juicer right about now. Fun fact, save these half-squeezed lemon peels for cleaning things like cast iron pans or stainless steel pans or wooden cutting boards. You just sprinkle some salt, rub the lemon on, and it's kind of like a natural antibacterial. Now with any of the drinks I'm going to be talking about today, you can keep them virgin, or you can add a little bit of alcohol if you so wish. I think for this specific drink, you could actually skip the almond essence completely and just use amaretto for the almond flavor. Alright, I've got my lemon juice. I'm gonna sweeten it to my liking, which is quite sweet. And top it up with water, tasting as I go to see if I like it. Alright, this has come up to temperature, it's bubbling a bit, it's syrupy. A good way to tell if something has formed a thick syrup is to get a spoon, cover the back of it, and then once it's cooled down, just run your finger in the back, and check the consistency yourself once it's cooled down. Okay, I confirm that the syrup is the consistency I like. Get yourself a strainer, and pour the syrup through. And squeeze all the syrup out of those cherries. And don't throw these cherries away, save them and use them for your oats or something. Alright, I've got all our ingredients in front of us, so in your glass, we're gonna start with the cherry syrup. I've got around 2 tablespoons here, but of course, adjust to your preference. The version I'm gonna be making now is sparkly, but you can also make a flat version if you're not a fan of sparkles, just with the cherry syrup and the lemonade and maybe some more water. But for the sparkly version, you're gonna have your cherry syrup, then your lemonade, fill it up around halfway. Then you're gonna top it off with either soda water, lemon soda, or sparkling water. Today I've got sparkling water. I've got a lemon, oh how cute. Okay, I really wanted to get like a little layered drink effect, but it hasn't really worked. So I'm just gonna mix it up. Okay, mixing it up was the move. Look at that beautiful red color. Okay, enough marveling. Let's give it a try. Ooh. Oh, that is so splendid. cherry lemonade, you can't go wrong. And the almond just adds a little bit of sweetness, almost creaminess to it. I think it makes it much more dessert-like. If you're a little sweetheart that likes to order a Shirley Temple, I think this is the drink for you. I want to drink all of this right now. Now, onto our final two drinks that are a little bit more complicated. And the first one is one that came to me in a dream. And by dream, I mean walking past my favorite boba shop and looking at a drink that I did not have the treat spending money at the time to buy. Nothing is sadder than using up your weekly treat spending quota and then seeing another treat that you wish you had. But what exactly is this? A pineapple coconut Yakult slushie. I'm sorry. Obviously, this is going to be a bit like a piña colada, but not as complex, less risk of your pineapple and coconut milk curdling, because that's happened to me before and it's embarrassing, I know. Originally, when I planned this, I actually thought of making my own vegan Yakult, but that is an experiment for another day. I definitely think it's possible, but I came up with this easier version that still tastes like the idea of Yakult, but can be made with readily made ingredients from the store. We're first going to start by making the coconut Yakult. And what is Yakult in the first place? It is a probiotic yogurt drink with lemon and vanilla flavor. So for the yogurt flavor, I'm going to be using vegan coconut yogurt, which also means that it's still going to be probiotic. We do want coconut flavor, so of course, if it's not coconutty, go ahead and add some coconut milk or coconut cream. We also want to thin it out a little bit, in with a little bit of coconut milk. You're going to want to sweeten it with some sugar or powdered sugar. Powdered sugar is obviously going to dissolve much more easier, so use that if you've got it. Then, for the lemon flavor, believe it or not, we're going to add lemon juice. And finally, a splash of vanilla extract. And there we've got our creamy coconut Yakult filling. Onto the pineapple slushie. Quite simply, you're just going to get yourself a blender and some frozen pineapple. In with the pineapple, I'm going to put a tablespoon of lime juice and a little bit more coconut milk to help it blend. Alright, there we go. Beautiful and creamy. If your blender isn't that strong, you can nudge it along with a little bit of water or pineapple juice or coconut milk. Now, you might think I'm done, but oh no. We are taking this even further and adding one of my favorite items, nata de coco. Now, what I found out recently is that nata de coco is actually similar to a SCOBY. It's edible bacterial growth from what I understand, and it was invented by a woman. And it is one of my favorite things ever. They're basically these little chewy chunks of coconut flavor, and oh, you will also often find these at boba places being served as coconut jelly. And I want to take that inspiration and cut these pieces up a little bit smaller so that they can be sucked through a straw and enjoyed in this drink. So, if you're buying nata de coco from the store, you can just cut it up into smaller pieces. Or if you find coconut jelly strips that are ready to be put in drinks, you can also use that. Okay, there's my nata de coco. Now let's put this drink together. So I'm going to layer this in my glass. We're going to start with the pineapple slush, then a layer of the coconut yogurt, again with the pineapple slush, then in the middle, I'm going to put in my nata de coco, and there we go. Is that not the most gorgeous drink you've seen today? Now, if you're not vegan or you want to make a quicker, easier version of this drink, feel free to buy Yakult and add that into the slush. Let's give it a taste. She's a sipper, alright? You've got to suck for this one. So I'm sure your mom would love it. I got some nata de coco in there. Ooh, so tropical, so refreshing, really rich. This is more of a dessert than a casual drink. Really do not be afraid to go crazy with the lemon and the vanilla in the coconut layer, because I think that's what adds the Yakulty flavor. Oh, but definitely go for the nata de coco. It's such a fun addition. I mean, man, it's just so beautiful. Now, onto the last drink of our video. This was relentlessly recommended to me by one of my friends. It is the famed Mangonada. I've never had one of these before, so I had to go ahead and make a lot of the ingredients for this, one of those being chamoy. And chamoy is a Mexican, it's a condiment. Let's describe it as a condiment, and it is often eaten with fruit and candies. It is sweet, sour, and spicy. Obviously, if you live in a location where you can buy chamoy, you can skip this part, but I made it myself since I can't find it easily within Europe, and you guys can see how it's made as well. Voiceover Velvet here to explain how to make the chamoy. So one of the ingredients we're going to need is tamarind, which you can buy as a paste from the store. When it comes as a paste, there's a lot of seeds inside, so after you measure it out, you're going to add it into some boiling water and mix it quite vigorously to let the pulp separate from the seeds, and you might have to leave it sit for around 10 to 15 minutes so that you can soften it up and remove the seeds by hand. Once that's done, you've got your tamarind liquid. We'll add a cup of that and a cup of plain water to a pot. Dried hibiscus, apricot, dried prunes, brown sugar, salt, and chili de árbol, ground up, or whole if you have that. Add all of the ingredients I just listed into the pot with the tamarind water mixture and let that sit on a low-medium heat for around 20 minutes. Okay, while the chamoy mixture is boiling in the background, I'm going to cut up the slime. Ooh, she's juicy. This has been bubbling away for 15 minutes. We basically just want the dried fruits in there to get soft so that we can blend it up. Now that it's off the heat, you can squeeze in your lime. And then using an immersion blender or a normal blender, blend it up until you get a smooth paste. Alright, we've successfully got this nice smooth paste. Now we just need to strain out any big chunks. I keep eating spoonfuls, I see why this is addictive. Since the frozen mango in my country is terribly, terribly flavorless, and I didn't want to buy a bunch of fresh mangoes, I bought some of this mango pulp. You can buy mango pulp in cans like this from Indian supermarkets, and it's not the best thing to use for this recipe, but it is an alternative. I put this in an ice cube tray and I froze it, but ideally the best thing to use is frozen cubed mango. Or if you also can't get that, or if you're on a budget, just use some mango sorbet. I'm here and I'm back with my blender. Here is the frozen mango pulp that I was talking about. I've got my mango. Then we're gonna add some lime juice, around a tablespoon. Now, just blend this until you get a fine, smooth slushy. Alright, here we've got our very intense mango slushy. Now let's prepare the glass. Now over here, a little something that also might be difficult to find if you're not in America, we've got some tahini. Using some squeezed lime skin, just rim the edge of your glass. And like you're making a margarita or a mojito, spread your tahini out and use it to coat the edge of the glass. Okay, I kind of failed, but it's the flavor that we want, so it's fine actually. So first a little bit of mango, then a layer of the chamoy, back in with the mango, another layer of chamoy. I'm gonna sprinkle a bit of tahini on top, and some freshly cut mango. Whew! Look at that. Alright, so I'm very, very intrigued to try this because this is not a flavor combination that is common outside of South America and Southeast Asia, I would believe. We've got the mango chunks on top, the mango sorbet, the chamoy. I've got another boba straw again to enjoy all the layers. Let's give it a taste. That chamoy is really addictive. I totally understand why people like this. And honestly, it's a really, really great combination. I want more tahini on this. I want more lime actually. I should have gone heavier with the lime. The paper boba straw is starting to fail me. This, much like the Piña colada one, this is a treat. I would definitely go through the effort to make this because I think this would be an absolute showstopper if you were to bring this out to your group of friends. Look at how beautiful it looks in the glass. Second, the chamoy in this recipe is actually pretty healthy. It's mostly dried fruits. Actually, this could be the savior of summer constipation if anyone else has that problem. And the mango? It's delicious mango. I've got the seed back there, and I'm going to be making love to that seed when I turn this camera off. This is going to be devoured by the creature. I may be working at a failing Mexican restaurant and have a little bit of resentment for the cuisine, but this changes everything. So, I hope this video gave you a little bit of inspiration about what to make this summer. The fridge is currently full of multiple bottles of fermented drinks that we're going to be making, so if you want to see a video about fermented drinks, also let me know. I hope you survive this summer. Good luck anybody in countries where the heat waves are hitting them the most. I've been complaining quite a lot here in Europe. Obviously the heat wave is a terrible climate catastrophe that is affecting us, but it's also affecting many places around the world. I know that everybody's having it hard at the moment. Try and stay cool, take care of the people around you, enjoy a fun drink to keep your spirits up. If you want to see more of my videos, subscribe, leave a like. Feel free to follow my Instagram where I post all the pictures of my looks. And until next time, stay cool. Bye!